acsportstips.com. Continuing with our week 3 predictions. We got the predictions for Saturday's game. We're going to get into them in a couple of minutes. We're just going to talk about Thursday night's game, the Rutgers traveling to South Florida. That will be on our website tomorrow morning, www.acsportstips.com. Under the NCAA pick section, we'll have a written prediction for Rutgers at South Florida. Friday night's game, Washington State traveling to UNLV. We'll have a written prediction for that game as well on our website under the NCAA pick section. A written prediction Friday morning, and our prediction for Rutgers will be up Thursday morning as well. So check our website for that, www.acsportstips.com. We're just going to get into our predictions. We have 5 of them. We gave you some analysis on the podcast. We're laying off the Alabama-Arkansas game. Tyler Wilson will not play. Too many uncertainties on Arkansas. We're just going to be a fan and watch that game. So we're just no prediction on the Alabama-Arkansas game due to Tyler Wilson's injury. Redshirt freshman Brandon Allen, who took over in the loss to Louisiana Monroe, will make his first start. Just look for an Alabama defense to blitz and blitz and blitz under that undermanned Arkansas team. But we're holding back a prediction. We're just going to be a fan. We love the SEC, and we're just going to hopefully it'll be a great game. Let's talk about a little bit Notre Dame traveling to East Lansing to take on the Spartans. A lot of electric atmosphere in East Lansing. It's a primetime affair. Saturday night, 8 o'clock on ABC. A lot of pressure falling on the Spartans right now. We like Notre Dame in the upset. Let's tell you why. We like Everett Golson and the quarterback tandem of Golson and Tommy Rees. We think that's a positive heading into this game. Golson hurt his thumb last week against Purdue. He gets the start. If he falters early, look for Tommy Rees to come in. He's an experienced junior quarterback. He played last year and performed well on the road, and that's something good for the Irish heading into this game, to have 2 dependable quarterbacks. Anything could happen, and that's a positive heading into this game. We expect Brian Kelly to have a good game plan. He gets back Sierra Wood, who was back from suspension last week. He didn't play. We expect him to play this week. We expect Sierra Wood to add depth with Theo Riddick to that running game, and we expect the running game to get going and pick up some yards against that stout Michigan State defense. I think the X factor offensively for Notre Dame is tight end Tyler Eifert. His size at 6'6" and his speed is going to create mismatches in the secondary for Michigan State. The tallest person on the Michigan State secondary is only 5'11". Look for Notre Dame and Brian Kelly to use Eifert in multiple looks and cause mismatches to get the ball down the field. You remember Notre Dame manhandled the Spartans last year at home in South Bend, 31-13. They have a lot of members from that team that carry over. We know they start a different quarterback. However, we expect a good game plan out of Brian Kelly. We're calling for a 24-20 Notre Dame victory on the road in East Lansing as the Irish move to 3-0. Not sold on the Big Ten at this point. Let's talk about the Florida Gators traveling to Knoxville to take on the Young Volunteers and head coach Derek Dooley. Both teams are 2-0. Both teams have a contrast in styles. You have an ugly offense in Florida versus a high-powered attack in Tennessee. The X factor in this game, though, is we feel like a lot of pressure will fall on the Volunteers to perform in this game. They weren't expected to be at the top of the SEC. They're 2-0 going into this game. They haven't beaten the Gators in 7 years, and Coach Derek Dooley has not won over a top-ranked team in 2 years at the helm of Tennessee. Until they do it, we're buying in with the Gators. We liked their defensive effort last week against Texas A&M. They shut down quarterback Johnny Manziel and that high-powered offense that Kevin Sumlin likes to run, and we like that effort on the road. We expect them to play loose. We know that they're without Jelani Jenkins. We still think they have a lot of secondary support, and we think the Gators gut out a 17-13 victory on the road in Knoxville. Until you can beat us, that's the way we're taking the approach with Tennessee. Until you do it, we're not buying in. They're young. They're maybe a little ahead of their time. Maybe a little bit later in the season they'll gel. We're looking for a Gator upset at Knoxville. Another team that's gelling is Louisville. They're 2-0. They're at the top of the Big East. And we have another contrast in styles with head coach Charlie Strong, who's a defensive-minded coach, and Larry Fedora, the up-tempo coach for North Carolina. A couple of factors about this game. North Carolina, the university, returned 1,000 tickets from their fans. They couldn't sell 1,000 tickets to this game. They returned them back to Louisville. It's a 3:30 primetime game, and expect Louisville to be up into this game. They do get back the Tar Heels running back Giovanni Bernard, which will help them. It's an evenly matched contest. I believe, though, the defense of the Cardinals is the factor. We like head coach Charlie Strong. He had a very young team that played as freshmen and sophomores last year. They're a year older. They expect to win, but they're not cocky. They're taking every game at a time, and we like that approach led by sophomore quarterback Teddy Bridgewater. He's coming along. He's got a veteran offensive line in front of him, and we think the Cardinals pull out a decisive victory, 31-17 at home over North Carolina. A couple of games we didn't talk about in the analysis with the podcast. We're going to talk about them right now. Virginia, the Cavaliers on the road at Georgia Tech. They're underdogs. They won last year at home 24-21. They've had a couple of tough games at Richmond. They had a, come on late in that game, and they struggled against Penn State, turning the ball over 4 times. However, they gutted out 2 victories. They have a good quarterback in Michael Rocco and a very underrated running back in Perry Jones. We like the fact that despite not getting any turnovers defensively, the Cavaliers, they have won 2 games. They expect to get some turnovers this week, and we think they will get them. We're looking for the upset in Atlanta. We like a 24-20 Virginia Cavalier victory. Finally, this team, nobody's looking at this team. They impressed us last week. They're traveling to Madison, Wisconsin to take on the Badgers, who was sitting at 1-1. Wisconsin traveled on the road to Oregon State on the West Coast. They got upset 10-7. Quarterback Danny O'Brien hasn't gelled in that offense, and the loss of 6 offensive coaches by Brett Bielema's staff has hurt that offense. They're not hitting on all cylinders. They now come from the West Coast back home to Madison. All eyes and all spectators would say it's going to be a Badger blowout. But you know what? They're playing Utah State, who's a very solid team led by quarterback Chucky Keaton. You saw what he did last week against their arch nemesis, Utah. He led them to victory. They have the monkey off their back. They beat Utah finally after 12 straight years. We expect them to come to Madison playing loose, playing confident, and they have a very good defense, and we are expecting an upset in Madison. The Badgers dropped 2 in a row. We're looking for the upset by Utah State, a 28-24 victory in Madison. You heard it here first. Utah State upsets Wisconsin again. Stay with us all season long. We'll have a week 3 recap of the games, and stay with us all season long because college football is the best, and we'll give it to you, all your information at www.acsportstips.com.